The secret race to nuclear power. How 10 countries got the bomb. We all know the story. The United States was the first country to develop nuclear weapons. But today, 10 nations around the world possess them, each with a backstory filled with secrecy, espionage, rivalry, and betrayal. Some worked together, but most raced in the shadows. While the Manhattan Project is widely known, the nuclear stories of other nations are just as dramatic, yet rarely told. Let's break down how each of these countries got the bomb, and which ones came dangerously close. 1. It all started in Germany, 1938. In 1938, German scientists discovered nuclear fission, the ability to split atoms and release massive energy. By 1939, Albert Einstein warned the US of the weaponization potential. During World War II, the US, UK, and Canada launched the Manhattan Project, a secret operation that consumed nearly 1% of America's entire GDP. While Germany surrendered in May 1945, the US tested its first nuclear bomb, Trinity, in July. Weeks later, Hiroshima and Nagasaki were bombed, ending World War II and launching a new global arms race. 2. The Soviet Union joins the game, 1949. The Soviets started their program as early as 1941 after noticing Western scientists had gone silent on nuclear research. After witnessing America's attack on Japan, they accelerated their efforts, with the help of spies inside the Manhattan Project. Despite access to US designs, the Soviets didn't trust them entirely and did their own research. In 1949, they detonated their first bomb, RDS-1, in Kazakhstan. The US monopoly was over, and the Cold War arms race was on. 3. The UK, betrayed, then determined, 1952. The UK had a head start in nuclear research with its tube alloys project. Launched in 1940, during World War II, they handed all their findings to the US under the Quebec Agreement, expecting to share tech post-war. But in 1945, America went back on its word. Angered, Britain resumed its own program and, by 1952, tested its first bomb, Operation Hurricane, off the coast of Australia. 4. France. Reclaiming global power, 1960. Post-World War II, France focused on nuclear energy. But after the Suez Crisis and rising tensions with the US and USSR, France decided it needed nukes of its own. President Charles de Gaulle led the charge. Wanting strategic independence from NATO and the US, they tapped uranium from colonies like Niger and Gabon, and despite their economy being in ruins, France successfully tested its first nuclear bomb in 1960, and its first hydrogen bomb in 1968. 5. China. Rapid rise amid chaos, 1964. China initially received Soviet help, but political rifts caused Moscow to pull support. Despite facing the Great Leap Forward and the Cultural Revolution, China pressed on. They discovered rich uranium reserves, helping their program. In 1964, China detonated its first atomic bomb, Project 596. Just 32 months later, they tested a hydrogen bomb, the fastest transition from fission to fusion in history. 6. Israel. The bomb they never admitted, 1967? Israel has never officially confirmed having nuclear weapons, but behind the scenes, they were working with France as early as the 1950s. By 1963, President Kennedy grew suspicious and demanded inspections of Israel's secret nuclear facility in the Negev desert. Israel denied and staged inspections while hiding underground weapon labs. In 1986, technician Mordecai Vanunu leaked photos and documents to the British press. He was later kidnapped by Mossad, tried in secret, and sentenced to 18 years for espionage. His leaks suggested Israel had even developed thermonuclear weapons. 7. India. Peaceful, tests and silent progress, 1974 to 1998. India began nuclear research in the 1940s, but after losing a war to China in 1962, the effort gained urgency. In 1974, they tested their first device, Smiling Buddha, calling it a peaceful explosion. Despite global condemnation, India didn't fully weaponize until 1998, when they conducted 5 underground tests, including a hydrogen bomb. India claims a no first use policy, meaning nukes are only for retaliation. 8. South Africa, the only country to give them up. South Africa had massive uranium reserves and started a nuclear energy program in the late 40s. By the 70s, amid Cold War tensions and global isolation due to apartheid, they began developing bombs. By the mid-80s, they had built 6 weapons. But as apartheid collapsed, South Africa became the first and only country to voluntarily dismantle its arsenal. The enriched uranium was secured, though a 2007 break-in nearly led to theft. 9. Pakistan. The grass-eating bomb, 1998. After losing to India in 1971, Pakistan's PM famously said, "Even if we have to eat grass, we will get our own bomb." Following India's 1974 test, Pakistan accelerated development. Scientist Abdul Qadir Khan stole uranium enrichment designs from the Netherlands and brought them back. China also played a key role, providing materials and blueprints. In 1998, just weeks after India's tests, Pakistan detonated 5 bombs in response. Unlike India, Pakistan maintains a first-use policy, meaning it may use nukes preemptively, a stance that has deterred Indian military actions ever since. 10. North Korea. Nukes for survival, 2006. North Korea began nuclear research in the 50s with Soviet help for energy. But by the 1980s, the US suspected they were secretly developing weapons. Despite joining the Non-Proliferation Treaty in the 90s, North Korea delayed inspections and kept working on weapons. In 2006, they detonated their first nuclear bomb, though small. It marked a major shift. By 2017, they claimed to have thermonuclear weapons, largely thanks to help from Pakistan. Honorable mentions and future threats. Many other countries came close: Iran, Iraq, Syria, Egypt, Libya, Brazil, Argentina, Japan, and others. Some had facilities destroyed by Israeli airstrikes or cyber attacks. Iran is currently believed to be the closest to joining the nuclear club, with Saudi Arabia warning it will build nukes if Iran does. Countries like Japan have the tech and uranium to make a bomb fast, they simply choose not to. Treaties like Tlatelolco, Latin America, Rarotonga, South Pacific, Pelindaba, Africa, and Bangkok, Southeast Asia, have created nuclear-free zones. But let's not forget, most nukes today are hidden in submarines, roaming silently under the oceans. Even if a country's land-based launch systems were destroyed, these subs can still strike back. Bottom line, nuclear weapons are incredibly expensive, hard to hide, and heavily monitored. But despite the risk and cost, the list of nuclear-armed nations may still grow.